This is Leaf Life. All things cannabis for all people. Now, Ricker and the Bearded Lorax.
We publish a free magazine called The Leaf that is available in print in 13 states. Hey, more coming at your local cannabis retailer and also available online at leafmagazines.com. I'm Mike Ricker, your host of Leaf Life, and partnered with my co-host and founder of The Leaf Magazines, Wes Abney, also known as the Bearded Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
And of course, there's AJOG.
Hola, aloha, OGs.
And Mary J. White.
The smoking female.
Advancements in technology have always been a celebrated catalyst towards living better lives for the human race. But as we progress closer from the information age to the robot age, is there a point where we should put on the brakes? This is artificial intelligence.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Oh, yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Absolutely.
You didn't say that with a Japanese accent, Mary.
Well, because he's not Japanese.
It's supposed to be domo arigato.
Oh,
That's good, eh? Not bad, right?
hello.
Our first segment is the
Nailed
end
it.
of humanity. And our second segment, a better future. Two open-ended segments there, Ray J. But before we get educated, we just have to get medicated. So let's get stoned.
Let's go. Yeah.
So wherever your day has led you out there, now it's time to fire up, chew up, or drink up, whatever you got to do to get the weed in your body. As we introduce this show's Greg the Guinea Pig.
Hi, I'm Greg, and Ricker used to try his weed out on me. But now it's someone else's turn to be the guinea pig.
Very excited about this cat being on the show. Why? Because he designed our impact issue cover for June of 2023. Pete Gibson, he's an artificial intelligence creator, as well as a digital collage artist. That's what I mean, who worked with artificial intelligence to create the cover for the Leafs June 2023 impact issue. He's also a software engineer recruiter in his day job. Pete Gibson, also known as at Pete Gibby or Pete.Gibby on Instagram. Welcome to the Leaf Life podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. It's Pete's a stoner, so let's spin AJ's wheel to find out what he's going to be hitting.
What's in AJ's stash?
Let's see here. What do we got today? Ooh, our friends at Ember Valley.
Ember Valley out of California.
We love Ember Valley.
We do. How's that smell, AJ?
Oh my goodness.
I
You
can
got to
smell
give
that
that
over
a
here.
smell, Pete. That is really, wow.
Yeah.
It smells like, I can't identify. What would you call this scent here?
I don't
Little
know.
cheesy.
That's got like a little cheesy, little candy.
Okay.
I'm pretty bad with this stuff.
Pass it
I'll
over
say
to Wes.
stuff where they're
Wes
just
will
like,
Wes will
What
pinpoint
strain is
those
it?
Maybe a little
exact
berry?
trips. Yeah, let's look at this strain.
it's like
here.
Gastro Pop. Is that the name of the strain?
You know, Gastro Pop, baby.
There you go.
That'd be
Indica
interesting to
flavor.
see.
It's Indica bomb.
I say
So
berries.
Ember
People
Valley
say
has
ding
won a
cheese.
lot
Start
of
hitting
awards.
it, Pete.
Ember Valley's won several Emerald, what are they called? Emerald Cup. Yeah, they've
Thank
won
you.
several Emerald Cup.
And
Ember Valley's won Emerald Cups.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lighter right there.
This smells like fizzy berries
Okay,
with,
so berries
like,
is on there.
cream
Ooh.
and a little and like a gassy lemon
Watch him go, Mary.
finish.
Watch him go, Mary.
Watch the bearded
Smells
Lorax
really
go.
yummy.
It's impressive.
Lorax does almost all the reviews here in
Wow.
Washington.
That's
And, you know, sometimes
He's a true
crumbs and
connoisseur.
terpenes get on his beard.
right. Yeah.
And when he goes into the bank teller will say, wow, you smell creamy and with a taste of apple fritter. And yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So, Pete, you hit that.
Some fritter.
You hit the Gastro Pop.
It was nice and smooth.
Ember
man.
Valley. Well,
Yeah.
it should be smooth
They
like
do some
you,
good
brother.
work.
Now let's get into it, okay? The end of humanity. This is an important show. This is a show I've been waiting to do for a long time, and I think for our listeners out there, especially our Leaf Life loyal fans, this is a show that's going to be telling, that's going to inform people, because everybody's scared right now. This isn't just a show about weed. This is a show about the future of weed. And in the second segment, like I said, we'll talk about, can we expect a better future because of AI? But first, is it the end of humanity? Because everybody is scared. There's fear. And Wes will, well, Wes, you know, it's worth asking.
Sure.
Because, you know, I mean, look, we have to approach this from a layman's point of view. And from what the media tells us, or from word of mouth going around the universe right now, AI is here to take jobs. It's here to clean our house like the Jetsons and
It already does. If
butter
you have
our
a
toast.
Roomba.
Yeah.
Why are we
Exactly.
listening to what the
Exactly.
media says,
There we
Ricker?
go.
I was gonna say, because it's been around for a while. I mean, I think this is the same thing as the Industrial Revolution. Like every time we've had a technological upgrade or evolution of what we're using, there's a resistance to change, right? There's this
Sure.
The
insertion.
cotton gin is going to take all the jobs.
That's right.
You
Right.
know,
And there are some things that take jobs. And I think, at some point, we as people have the equipment to evolve, especially over several generations. So that becomes our responsibility at some point, and I think it's unfortunate where, we talk about as the end of humanity. I think part of the big issue is there's this gap between, the capacity and the technical ability of some of these programs, some of the software, and, all the jobs they're going to automate. Right. You're talking about like this new stuff, for example, they're talking Google Bard is one of these new ones, and they can automate, or at least remove work from writers, architects, things of that nature. And, so that becomes a very real thing for creators at the end of the day. But, how different has that been in the past, right? I mean, there's been, from an artistic standpoint, on Instagram, I'll put my stuff on there. That's my primary mode of getting it out there. And so I'll use AI to build objects, and essentially make like a digital collage with all that stuff. But then I also see on one end, there's people that'll just kind of hit the print button, and some of that stuff does look very similar. But at the end of the day, if you're doing digital stuff, if you're using any tools, right, that's a level of automation. And,
So let's start from the beginning. AI is a tool. It's not a he. It's not a
Right.
she.
Or are they?
right.
Thank God. It's not an entity.
Mhm.
It's not a god. It doesn't have feelings.
Right.
It is a tool.
Yep.
And it learns based on parameters that it's given in the programming.
Mhm.
And it responds to prompts
Yeah.
written into it. So to start like saying AI is going to end the world is a misnomer. Like it's not a thing.
Right.
But Will Smith showed us all what happened.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I Am Legend.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And
The
it
journey.
we have AI now, running fighter jets, and we have AI automating systems, and there's the whole Skynet from Terminator theory that, it's going to become self-aware and just, decide we're evil and kill us. But it's just a tool. So it's a good tool in the hands of a good person. It can be a
Exactly.
bad tool in the hands of a bad person. And when we talk about it as a tool for creators or to replace creators or to replace architects or whatever these creative jobs are, I think creatives need to view it as a tool that they can add their human element to, because there's always going to need to be that human element.
Totally.
But in terms of living in fear of it,
Yeah.
I think that's what the media wants. And there are big AI people like Elon Musk who say, we shouldn't teach them to lie. We shouldn't give them all the power.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's not
It's not an entity.
But what
Yes.
happens
Not
when Dr.
yet.
Evil gets a hold of an AI program?
Exactly. It's not yet
Right.
an entity, but
Yeah.
it puts me on edge a little. I mean, I just think there's so much, authenticity to that creative side of being human and those who are creatives. The part that worries me is like the algorithmic aspects. It's just recording that algorithm, and now this person's like very unique ability is no longer unique, because now I can access it for a certain price, or it's just free out there right now, because they're trying really hard to collect as much data as they can from us. There's some resources you could go to, and AI will design your packaging for you or push out an answer, architect. I ran into an architect at McMinimans, and he was kind of stressed out, and he told me that that's why he was stressed out, because he gets paid a lot of money to create these elaborate layouts for commercial buildings. And, recently his client came back to him with an AI layout that was a little better than his. There was some aspects to it that were just more well thought out, for the longevity of the building. And he just wasn't trained to see that. And he was like so frustrated at the bar. He's like, I'm just breaking my head because why didn't I see that? And it's like now guess what? I lost the bid.
Well,
because now that person was just going straight over to the contractor and so very interesting. That's the polarity of it all, right? It's like, very.
I think it too, it depends on, like you all alluded to and kind of mentioned directly, who's controlling these resources and what are their interests, right? And that's kind of where I look at it where, I worked up in Detroit right around 2008, and I was driving up there every week from Ohio in a Honda. And so like it was the worst combination of things where I'm driving up there. They're like, oh, you're from Ohio and you have a rival car, even though those were made in Ohio. They all thought, they're like, okay, well, that thing's, made in Japan. You took my brother's. I mean, I was getting.
That's a thing, huh? That's a real thing.
It was a real thing. And so, and I understand it because like that was one of the worst times Detroit has dealt with, right? Like their economy was collapsing. But at the end of the day, I mean, I was walking around those plants. They had giant, Chinese robots that were welding. And I'm like, well, so it's not necessarily me, because this, the car I was driving, the Honda, was assembled in Ohio. They didn't know that. But I'm like, who are shareholders, basically increasing margins, the repeatability. Like there's certain great things about automation. But at the end of the day, they do cost jobs. They force change, on an entire society that has an economy like ours. So if there's inputs, outputs, and there's tasks, and we're getting paid for manual tasks of any type, that stuff we should probably expect at some point to be automated.
We needed to. And when we talk about like climate change and the green economy, which is going to be a very difficult transition our whole grid over, we have to automate a lot of things.
Yes.
And so when we start to think about 3D printing buildings, which can be done with hempcrete too, Google hempcrete.
Right.
But we want to mass produce things quickly and efficiently. So if we can 3D print a building that's designed through AI, that's, managed by a human, like we can start to put things up and also program robots to do basic things that hurt the body, hurt the human body, the welding, the digging. So we're going to lose jobs.
But at the same point, if those manual jobs go away, people are infinitely creative, right?
More time, more energy, more space.
Yeah.
We need to progress in a society where eventually we're rewarded for our time.
Yes.
Where it's not about trading your time simply to make money to exist.
Well, I think also I feel like one thing that comes to mind for me is just that hard work feels fucking good. Like I come from a farm town and we have a saying where it's like dirty hands, clean money, and it feels good and it's something to be like proud of. And so I just think that, I think humanity also needs to have labor because labor like just makes you more refined to some degree. A lot of these farm workers are up early and they're doing things I can't even wrap my head around because I want to smoke my weed and be in a creative flow, this like zen, which is great. But kudos to people who like throw it down and put in hard work labor because it does feel good. I've gone out, when I was a kid, we went out and picked and did all the things on the farm. So
we want productivity, not necessarily the labor. And in the second segment, we'll talk about a better future. But first, Pete, it's time for you to play Legalize It.
Oh,
perfect.
Pete.
From the Who's the Dipshit Who Came Up With This Law file, you gotta wonder how some of these laws were even passed. This is Legalize It.
Pete, it's true. Some states are still partying like it's 1899. All right, bro, there's some weird laws. Get ready.
Man, it's gonna be tough.
No, you're not gonna bomb this, bro. You're gonna crush it. You ready? Here we go.
I like that confidence.
Number 1, in this mountaineer state, it is illegal for chickens to lay eggs before 8 a.m. and after 4 p.m. Yeah, bro.
West Virginia?
That's correct.
Hey, look at you. You're smart.
Yeah.
This is a random epiphany. I didn't even
Give you the answer.
just snapped out.
Well,
I
he-
think you have ESPN.
Pete has a lot of friends
Yes, Pete.
that are chickens, so he's been around them a lot. Yeah,
Half
sure.
chicken.
Yeah, okay. He knows a lot of chicks. Hey. All right. Number 2. And in this state next door, it is illegal to wash a mule on a sidewalk, and it is also illegal to flip a coin in a restaurant to see who pays for coffee. Got that, Wes?
Wow.
It's fucking Midwest right there.
Yeah.
Like in a fucking nutshell.
Idaho.
God, this is why, this shit, people are taking their fucking time.
Seriously.
Hammering out these laws. Okay.
Yeah.
Next to West Virginia, you can't flip the donkey?
You can't wash a donkey
Wash
on the
a
street,
donkey.
on the sidewalk.
On the
A
sidewalk.
mule, sorry.
That's such a
And
specific
it's
law. Like,
illegal
what
to
fucking
flip a coin
happened?
in a restaurant to see who pays for coffee.
God,
That's gambling, brother.
What
Come
happened to lead to? Okay.
No
No,
gambling.
this is geography too. West Virginia,
I'm going Idaho. Oh wait, West Virginia.
Idaho.
Tennessee.
Iowa.
Is that even next to West Virginia?
Incorrect.
Pennsylvania.
The answer is Virginia.
Virginia.
Close. You were close.
I was like, is Tennessee bordering?
See what happens when you get somebody high, Mary?
They
Yeah, they
mashed
get all
together.
silly.
And
like
number
just a
3.
word.
In this state, lollipops are banned, and it is illegal to ride an ugly horse.
And they're like, of course.
Is that a thing?
Bro, you're
Just
goddamn
like
right
in
it
the
is.
court, yeah. Who makes that
course, it's a
determination
law.
too?
Take
Is that
my
a specialty
horse.
person to make that determination on the prettiness of the horse, or do they have?
Exactly.
Is that like an expectation for anyone who's a judge?
What's the answer, Pete?
I don't know what that is. I'll throw that.
It's
out.
on the West Coast.
Where do they have a lot
No.
of horses?
I'm gonna say I don't.
That's not on the West Coast.
Oh, is it purely on the west? I was thinking the western half of the. Okay,
Sure, bro. Yeah.
Ohio.
It's
or no,
Washington.
Oregon.
I forget.
Still sounds Ohio.
Hey,
Oregon.
big ups to Ember Valley,
Yeah,
man.
no,
That's some
no,
fucking chronic.
Fuck was that? That was-
Bro, it's
Valley got
Washington. The state in which we are sitting pronto.
Ugly horse, huh?
It's illegal for
Ugly
us to
horse.
have lollipops?
and ugly horses.
Yeah,
To
thanks.
give an ugly horse a lollipop, it's illegal.
100% legal. Just don't ride that ugly horse.
Just don't ride it.
If you want to discover cannabis news, reviews, entertainment, and culture, and explore every Leaf magazine at your convenience, search leafmagazines.com. Coming up in our second segment, we'll discuss if we can expect to enjoy a better future with AI. We'll get another spin at AJ's wheel, too, and we'll kick it all off with another episode of Who Does That? With Mary J. White. Leaf Live continues in just a moment.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies.
Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Northeast Leaf, Maryland Leaf, Amsterdam Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risks associated with consumption of this product. For use by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
Some of the wardrobe, including Ricker or Wes's sick lids, is provided by Grassroots California. Check out the dopeness at grassrootscalifornia.com.